Hi guys, I'm back with another alkaline cooking video, and today we're going to make stuffed peppers with the leftover sauce from yesterday's raviolis. If you guys did the ravioli recipe with me, you should have some leftover sauce. What I'll do is put the link in the description box for that recipe, and then watch it. When you get to the sauce part, you can make the sauce, unless you already know how to make your own sauce. What I've done is scooped out 2 cups and set them aside. And now you're going to need a pan going, get the heat going, and we're going to make some quinoa. Put about a teaspoon of oil in the bottom, and then we're going to brown some quinoa very lightly. Hang on one second. Alright, so what you're going to need is 1 cup of quinoa. You hear that popping? We're going to stir it around and let it brown just ever so slightly. You'll start to smell like a nutty flavor. Just stir it around. Try to get it all coated with the oil. Just do this for a couple of minutes. That's all it needs. Make sure your heat is on medium-high. Alright, you can really smell it now. Now we're going to add 2 cups of the leftover sauce. And then 1 cup of spring water. Now we're going to stir that in. And let it come to a boil. It's come to a boil and we'll be right back. Okay, it's come to a boil now. That took about 4 minutes. Now we're going to put the lid on it and let it simmer for 20 minutes. Now we're going to get our peppers ready. I have 4 peppers I'm going to use. Alright. And what we're going to do is I've already cut off the tops and de-seeded them and everything. And I'm going to cut off the rest here with you, this last one. All I did was cut off the top, just like that. Pulled out the insides. If you don't mind seeds and you like to have seeds in your diet, just leave the seeds. And then get rid of that middle piece, and we're going to use these peppers. We're not going to let that part go to waste. So just chop them up in small pieces. Alright, so do that to all your peppers. Okay, put them in the little pots over here. Alright, so now the peppers are ready to go. So we're just going to sprinkle a little sea salt inside of each pepper. Just a little pinch. And then we're going to set these aside. Now for the walnut cheese, you're going to need 1 cup of pre-soaked walnuts. These were soaking for a couple of hours. 1 tablespoon of hemp seeds. 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. That's optional. 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. And 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. Then we're going to add the juice from 1 key lime. Okay. Now to this, we're going to add the rest of these pieces of the peppers that we have left over. If you run out of room, you might just have to blend a little before you can add the rest. And that's what I'm going to do. We're going to add, we may not need to add water to this, or we may. I'm thinking a little bit. Okay. Get that, pop it to the bottom. All right, now we're going to add the rest of the peppers. Blend it up. You may have to give it a little shake to the bottom, or even get a spoon and stir it around. Okay, this is perfect. I didn't even have to add water. Look at that. Give it a little taste. If you like the taste, stick with it. It will have a little hint of pepper, bell pepper flavor, but it's really good. All right, that's ready to go. You can just set that aside because we're going to use that in our stuffed peppers. All right, now we're going to clean up a bit and wait for this quinoa to finish. We'll be right back. Okay, the quinoa has finished cooking. We're not going to take the lid off. We're going to let it sit for another 20 minutes so it can just finish cooking, because when you add stuff to the quinoa, like all the vegetables and everything, it cooks a little bit differently than it normally does. So just let it sit, okay? I would say 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get our peppers finished prepared, or finish preparing our peppers. The sauce, or the cheese sauce, I took and went and put it in a bowl. And at this point, if you would like to add more salt to it, or cayenne, you can go ahead and do that. Because if you like yours a little saltier, go for it. Because as you know, if you're just starting out the alkaline diet, you'll notice that you like things saltier at the beginning. And as your palate changes, you'll get used to less salt will taste much saltier than it did previously. Okay, at least that's how it worked for us. All right, so now when I bake these, I'm going to bake them with tinfoil on them. And I'm trying to use up the rest of my tinfoil before I stop using it. But if you do not like to use tinfoil, do this in a Dutch oven. Okay? It's like a big, kind of like a big sauce pot. It sits about this high. And it has a lid, but it's all made out of cast iron. Some of them are enamel coated and whatnot. So what we're going to do is take some more of this leftover sauce, and we're going to put it on the bottom of our pans that our peppers will be laying in. Just like so. Okay. There, now we've successfully used up all the leftover sauce. Put them down in there. And if you like your peppers softer, before you do this and put them in the pan in the sauce, after you take out the seeds and take off the tops, take and boil them in water for 3 to 5 minutes, then put them in the sauce like this, and before we stuff them, okay? Get your oven preheated on 350, and now we're going to come back as soon as the quinoa is done sitting for 15 to 20 minutes. Alright guys, we're back. This has been sitting for 15 minutes. I already gave it a stir to test it out, and everything is perfect. Now because we added a cup of water to the sauce when we added it with the quinoa, that is going to decrease some of the flavor, and it may taste a little bland. At this point, this is where you can add a little bit of sea salt if you'd like to, or if you want to add some other seasonings, you can. I'm personally going to add just a half a teaspoon of sea salt, going to use my fingers because I've already put everything away. I'm going to stir it in. Now you could have added it when you put the sauce and everything in. You know, that probably would have been smarter. But I always do these recipes on the fly. You know, I think it up and I got to do it right then and there. So that's why I added mine now. Just give it a little taste. Alright. I'm dropping food everywhere. And if you still have more sauce left over, and now that this is cooked, you can go ahead and even stir it in here, okay? That is another way you can do it. If you don't have sauce left over, you can use a little bit from down here. You know, I just want to give you guys more ideas and more options and different things you can do. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start layering these peppers, okay? I'm going to try to do everything in frame here as best I can. Okay. Now, start by putting a spoonful of rice in the bottom of each one. And like I said, if you're still worried about your rice being bland, don't worry too much because you really shouldn't have a lot of salt in your diet, number one. And number two, you're going to have cheese and rice in every single layer. And the cheese sauce has a lot of flavor. I mean a lot. You're going to do a spoonful and then a spoonful of cheese. Just like this. Some of them you might need to add two if it's a wider pepper. I don't know if you could see that one back there. Yep, you can. Spread it around a little bit. Just be careful. You don't really want to mix it with the quinoa. You just kind of want to spread it. This one, I'm going to spread a little bit more. Let's get a little bit more in there. Okay, now we're going to do another big spoonful of rice. Spread it out. This is going to have a lot of vegetables in it because when we made that sauce, it was full of veggies. So this is a great, healthy meal. Don't be afraid to press it down so you have more room. And if you have a bigger family, there's plenty here left over to keep making more. Okay. Now, more cheese sauce. It's going to be a layered stuffed pepper. And when I talked about the rice being bland, I'm not shooting myself down. I'm basically saying that everything doesn't need to have a ton of salt in it. This has a nice hint of spaghetti sauce flavor in the background. It's really nice. And, you know, the sauce itself, the cheese sauce, you know, is going to kick in more flavor. You don't have to have salt piled up in every part of your meal when you're doing something with layers and whatnot. It's just not necessary. Try to cut it out wherever you can. And now our last layer is going to be the quinoa. Now fill it in there real nice. Stuff it in. Pat it down. Now when we bake these, we're going to bake them for part of the time, and then we're going to add cheese on top and finish baking them. Don't worry if you throw quinoa all over like I'm doing. All right, these are nice and stuffed and packed full. Okay. All right, so that's how it's looking so far. All right, now we're going to cover them with tin foil. Like I said before, if you don't like using tin foil, please use a Dutch oven to do this. Pop 2 small, maybe 3 small holes. Get one in the oven. All right. Get the other one covered. Come on. Oh, the foil's a little too small. All right, get your foil on there. Pop a couple of holes and put it in the oven. All right, bake these for 20 minutes and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. It's been 20 minutes. We're going to take these out of the oven. Okay, so make sure we're in frame here. All right, so now we're going to remove the tin foil. Looks like this one's fallen over a bit. I'll stand him back up. Okay. Push it over a little bit. All right. Now we're going to add the remainder of the cheese sauce on top. I'll put it on this one. All right, now the last 10 minutes these are going to go in the oven uncovered. Put them back in, and I'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay, guys? All right, guys, it's been another 10 minutes, and these are now out of the oven. And here we have our alkaline layered stuffed peppers. I'm going to do a final plating for you. Let's get some of this sauce out of here. Put the sauce right on the bottom. Use half of what's in the dish and the other half for the other pepper. You can put this over the top of the pepper or use it with every bite. However you like. Get this one out of the pan. There we go. Here it is. Let's see if we can get a little bit of an angle here. Here we go, alkaline stuffed peppers. And now what I'm going to do is cut it open for you so you can see what it looks like. Okay. Look at that. It's kind of hard to see the layers, but do you see those? Isn't that pretty? Almost looks like lasagna. This is going to be so good. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video. I would love it if you came back and let me know how much you liked it after you tried it for yourself. And if you made any variations, I'd love to hear what you did. And thanks again for watching my videos. Down below in the description box will be links to the ingredients that I used and other information that you can use for this recipe. Thanks again. See you next time.